But here's the truth, and I need you to hear this. No amount of emotional labor can turn a red flag into a green one. You cannot outlove somebody's lack of readiness, their lack of character, or their lack of integrity. You cannot, sis. You cannot. You can only outgrow your tolerance for it. And that's what we're going to start doing right now. If you've ever looked back at your relationships and thought, I knew better. I knew I shouldn't have done it. My gut was telling me something different. I knew I should not have proceeded with this relationship. The red flags were there, waving away, right? Why did I not walk away when I had the opportunity? I knew that this would end up like this. If you've ever felt that way, then these next 2 episodes are for you. Today, I'm going to chat with you about red flags, what they are, why we keep missing them, why we argue with them, and why smart, successful women just like us, why our nervous systems are so committed to giving people the benefit of the doubt when we really need to be running the other way. And because I want to give your edges a rest, don't want to snatch them too bad, okay? We need our edges, right, ladies? I'm going to let you catch your breath before we move on to part 2. So part 2 is going to be a separate episode. And in part 2, I'm going to share the most common red flags high-achieving women try to debate away and the exact questions that you got to ask yourself before you excuse another red flag. All of this is a warm-up for the work we're doing together in my live training, More Love, Less Hustle. I'll tell you more about that later in the show. And if you're listening in real time, we've got another session coming up this Friday at noon that you do not want to miss, all right? So while we're arguing with red flags, why we're even entertaining them in the first place, that's what today's episode is all about, all right? Let's go. Hi, I'm Dr. Tiff, your relationship transformation coach. I've spent the past 20 years working with high-achieving women just like you who are crushing it in every area of their lives, everywhere except their relationships. And look, I get it. Finding the one ain't easy, and relationships are hard. But you know what's even harder? Cycling through the bad ones, or worse, staying in relationships when you already know they're not a good fit. You want a relationship of ease, uncomplicated, someone to love you down. But instead, you've been suffering through bad dates, sexual incompatibility, and someone who might be good for somebody, but not for you. And if we're really being honest, you know that deep down, the work that really needs to be done starts and ends with you. If you're done wasting time in dead-end relationships and sick of looking for, chasing after, or trying to convince somebody to be the one, and you're ready to become the one, then baby, you're in the right place. So prop your feet and let's clink glasses, because I'm giving you the tea and the tips to fix your relationships. Let's go. Hello, and thank you for tuning in to Fix Your Relationships podcast. This is Dr. Tiff. I'm so happy to have you here today. I got to tell you, we had the most amazing training this past Friday for More Love, Less Hustle. It is my 1-hour training. It happened on Friday at noon. We have another one coming up this Friday at noon too, by the way. But this training is all about helping high-achieving women, women like you, women like me, who are crushing it in so many areas of their lives, but in their love lives, those skills do not translate. The skills that got you there aren't getting you the love you need, you desire, and you deserve. And so what we're walking folks through in this training is so amazing, is why we hustle so hard for love, why it eludes us sometimes, where those patterns for hustle come from, why it's so much more evident in women who are high achievers, hyper successful, hyper independent, and what we can do to get out of it. Folks are leaving this training with an actual strategy that is uniquely tailored to them that they can implement in their relationship that day. Okay? Don't sleep. Okay? Don't sleep on this training. It's a good one, and it is live. There is not an AI agent or bot hosting this training. Your girl is there, okay? Your girl is there. So if you would like to join me for the next training, go to the show notes. There's a link there. If you are at your computer, you can go to becometheone.myflowdesk.com/more love less hustle, and that will get you there. You'll put in your information to register, and then you'll get to select from the available dates that we have coming up. More dates will be added, but I say get in where you fit in, because who knows if the next date is going to meet your schedule and your availability. So go ahead and get signed up, and I will meet you there, hopefully this Friday. I would love to see you. All right. I want to start today by naming what I alluded to in the intro, what we mean when we say that you are arguing with red flags. Now, when I first thought about the title of this episode, I'm thinking, you know what? Some people will argue with a brick wall, right? And that's the first thing that popped to my mind. But how do we argue with red flags? It's entertaining a conversation that should not be a conversation anyway. Giving someone your energy when they have not earned it, and they certainly don't deserve it. Right? Arguing with red flags, because some of us are acting like we are still in debate club in high school. Okay. We have the intuition, we have the intellect. Okay. But we're arguing with and demanding and trying to get someone to love us in the way that we know we deserve, when in reality, based on all of the evidence that we have, everything that we've seen, all of our interactions, these individuals may or may not have the capacity and the ability to love us in that way in the first place. Okay. It is, in a sense, arguing with a brick wall. A red flag, for those of us who don't know, a red flag is a behavior or a pattern that clearly tells you this person is not aligned with who they say they are and what they say they want. This person is not safe for me emotionally. They're doing things and have a history of doing things that aren't in my best interest, don't support the goals that I have or that we say we have for this relationship. They're not emotionally safe. You know, you get the sense when you're in a red flag situation that this situation will require me to abandon myself. In More Love, Less Hustle, we talked about standards, and that's one of the ways in which we hustle for love is abandoning yourself. Okay, shrinking. That's another way of putting it, right? Red flags require you to abandon who you are, what you want, what you know you deserve. You stay in situations that require you to not act on your own best interest, okay? So arguing with a red flag sounds like, let's give you some examples. Well, he did call last minute, but he's really busy. So, I'm going to cut him some slack, okay? Or, yeah, she lied about that one thing, but she's had a really rough life. She's been burned before. I should be more understanding because of everything that she's been through. Or let's see, what's another one? Maybe he says I'm not ready for a relationship, but when you start to look at it, we talk every day. We act like a couple. We do couple things, if you know what I mean. I think he's just scared, so I'm going to give him some more time. Or maybe you tell yourself, you know what? It's not that bad. I've seen worse. I can handle this. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. If you hear yourself in any of that, I want you to know you are not crazy. You are not weak. What you are is patterned. Okay. When we are hustling for love like this, we don't just work hard to be the best partner. We're also working super hard to convince ourselves that what we are getting is enough. And deep down, we know it's not. We know we want more, but there's so many things that we stuff, that we stifle, that we silence, and we don't get what we know we deserve. Because if we admitted that it wasn't enough, we would have to make a move that we're not ready to make. Okay. If you admit that this is not enough, this is not what I want, this is not what I deserve, this is not what I signed up for. If you can admit that, then the next step, the next logical step, the next right step is to make a move, to do something different. But a lot of us aren't ready to make that move. We're scared to make that move. And so we don't, and we stay in situations where the red flag is just a flagging, right? So now if you're saying, okay, got it, Dr. Tiff, I'm not stupid. I'm not naive. I do see the red flags, but I just don't understand why I keep talking myself into staying. Why do I continue to do this if I know that this type of thing, this type of person, this type of pattern in these types of people are not good for me? Well, let's talk about that, okay? Because underneath all that mental gymnastics, there's usually a few things happening here. One is familiarity, right? If you grew up around inconsistency, if you grew up around criticism, if you grew up around folks being emotionally distant, not giving what you need, nurturing your emotional health and well-being, but also, these folks that were supposed to be giving you this type of love and support also said verbally, right? I love you. I am your person. I am your parent. I am your caretaker. I am, the one that is your ride or die. I am the one who loves you. Yet they were super inconsistent, super critical, super distant from you emotionally, right? Your body associates that feeling with love. It becomes familiar. It starts to feel like home, okay? So when it shows up again, when that person, that type of person and those types of patterns show up again, and it starts to feel like home, your body starts to signal that, oh, this must be love. This must be love. We will call that chemistry. We'll call it chemistry, but really what it is that we are familiar with it. It just reminds us of something that's supposed to be love, okay? But we're not as tapped into what it is that we really want and need and what love should look like, right? Because we know what we've always thought love looks like. This is familiarity, folks. This is not chemistry, all right? And so another reason that we might stay in these situations is we fear loss. We fear that this person is going to leave if we start rocking a boat. You think that if I call it what it is, if I say the thing, if I admit that I'm unhappy with this or I push them away, they may leave. And I don't want to start over. I don't want to be alone. I've invested too much, okay? I don't want nobody else to have them, okay? or I am not a quitter. And I am not a failure. So I'm going to stick with this until I can turn this thing around, until it works out in my favor, because I win at everything. I conquer everything. I am going to do this. So instead of grieving what this relationship actually is, you start to argue with the evidence. And that might be an internal struggle, right? You might just have this little argument in your head. Arguing with red flags isn't about arguing with a person. It's about arguing with your feelings, with the struggle that's going on inside of you. And so you end up arguing with the evidence that's right in front of you. You may have all the receipts, but when they start running game, when they start talking that talk, okay, you go into the mode of protecting the fantasy rather than dealing with the reality, okay? All right. So the next reason why we might stay in these relationships where there's all these red flags of flagging is because, and I've alluded to that in the last one, our hustle identity, how much we identify with the hustle. You are used to, if you are a high achieving baddie, right? You are used to working hard for the money, okay? You're used to working hard for what you want, okay? I am someone, you guys know I have a bachelor's in psychology, a master's in psychotherapy, a doctorate in human sexuality education. I am not afraid of learning. I actually love learning, especially if it's something I want to learn. I actually love learning. I'm not afraid of working hard for the thing that I want to go after. And for the longest time, I really felt like I could conquer anything. I was like, if I see it and I want it, I'm going to have it. It's like Seven Rings with Ariana Grande. If you don't know that song, you need to check it out. It's really cute. Anyway, I'm someone who isn't afraid of working hard. Sometimes, if you are a high achiever, if you are someone who isn't afraid of working hard, if you are someone who sets their sights on things and says, I want it, I'm going to have it. Lean in, sis, because I'm talking to you. Sometimes we work so hard. We're so used to working so hard for what we want that we don't see the red flag. Okay, we're so consumed with the hustle. A lot of times, especially at work, we get rewarded for the hustle, right? At work, when you push and you problem solve and you change the outcome is a result of you working harder. So in love, unconsciously, a lot of times we treat it the same way. If I just work a little harder, if I give it a little bit more, if I do more, if I am more, if I understand them better, if I love on them more, what it is that I don't like is going to change. It has no choice but to change because of who I am, because of what I've poured into it. But here's the truth, and I need you to hear this. No amount of emotional labor can turn a red flag into a green one. You cannot outlove somebody's lack of readiness, their lack of character, or their lack of integrity. You cannot, sis. You cannot. You can only outgrow your tolerance for it. And that's what we're doing here today. That's why we're having this conversation. All right, sis. All right. So if you can, I'm hoping that today is not too much. And that is why I wanted to split this up into 2 episodes, because I really wanted you to go back, listen to this again, see what you missed, see what you can absorb, see what you want to take accountability for. Okay. Because it is not uncommon for smart, successful, hyper independent, just amazing women to miss red flags. I'm really hoping that today's episode is bringing about a little bit of clarity into what red flags are, why we keep missing them, and why we stay committed to arguing with them. We won't let them go. It is not unique to you. I am positive that there are many women nodding their head to this episode today because they see themselves in these words. You are not alone. It is not unique to you. But we got to stop arguing with red flags. We got to let them go. If this episode struck a nerve, plucked a nerve, or scraped your edges away, share it with someone else because they probably need it too. Okay? Share it with your good girlfriends. Write a review on Apple Podcasts for me. And be sure to join us for more Love, Less Hustle. Because if you liked this episode, honey, we are diving even deeper in more Love, Less Hustle, because I don't want you in 2026 to be hustling so hard for love, to miss red flags, and to not ask yourself the more important questions about why you stay. Now, again, this is only part 1. I've got part 2 of this episode locked and loaded. I just didn't want to give you so much in one episode. So that's why we cut this one off here so abruptly, because I'm like, they got to digest this. So I wanted to cut this off as short and as sweet as I possibly could so that in part 2 of this episode, we can discuss the most common red flags that you guys are seeing and the 5 questions. I'm going to give you 5 questions to ask yourself before you excuse another red flag. And these 5 questions are game changers. They're going to change the way in which you think about your relationships and the things that you have excused and tolerated. Okay? It ends here. So after you finish this, if you need to go back through it, take some notes, sip some tea, you might need a little cocktail, okay? Come back for part 2, because part 2, we're breaking it down even further. And again, if you want more of this, come to more Love, Less Hustle, okay? I hope to see you there. All right. This has been an episode of Fix Your Relationships. And I love you. I love you for hanging out with me, rocking with me, learning with me. I love it. Thank you so much. And I'll see you in the next one. Hey, babe, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. My goal with this podcast is to bless you with information that helps you fix those relationships that are most important to you, but not before you do the self-work needed to make sure that those relationships thrive. If this episode was exactly what you needed, then guess what? Somebody else probably needs it too. So do me and them a favor. Please share this episode with your good girlfriend and let her know about the podcast. And while you're at it, hop on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a review. This really helps to grow the podcast and puts it right in front of other women who are desperate to work on their relationships and themselves. And if you haven't done so already, I want to invite you to join our community of like-minded women all on a journey to become the one. You can sign up for free at becometheone.myflowdesk.com/email. I know that's a lot, so just go on over to the show notes and click that link there. Thanks again for listening to Fix Your Relationships with Dr. Tiff. I'll see you right back here next week.